Welcome to the Frictionless Innkeeper podcast. Coming right up, fresh tips and insights from lodging professionals aimed at helping you improve your business. Our podcast is brought to you by the Frictionless Guest App, which helps improve your guest stay without adding more to your day. Learn how at frictionlessguest.com. Steve, how are you?
I'm doing well, Matt. How are you?
Doing well. So we have a podcast right here with Ben Ollic, who is the Senior Director for Marketing Specialist at Q4 Launch, as well as Kyle Collins, who's a sales rep at Q4 Launch. And they go pretty deep on their comprehensive web and marketing services for the lodging sector, and they brought up some pretty insightful future trends.
Yeah, definitely guys that know what they're talking about and fun to talk with as well. And I think what kind of strikes me is the fact that their whole service is really hands-on and, well, kind of like what we do with Frictionless, where we talk about curated experiences. They're like curated marketing, basically, right? I mean, they take every client individually and figure out the best way to have them market. And it sounds to me, based upon some of the things you were talking about, that they're pretty successful at doing that. So,
yeah,
pretty cool. Yep.
Yeah. It certainly seems like what they're doing is working for them too. It's great. And with that, we hope you enjoy this Frictionless Innkeeper podcast interview with Ben Ollic and Kyle Collins from Q4 Launch. All right. So Ben, Kyle, and Steve, how you guys doing today?
Good.
Doing great. Just hanging out in Charleston.
Awesome. Steve, how are you doing?
Matt, I'm good as usual.
I love hearing
I appreciate your concern for my well-being.
I'm always concerned about your well-being, Steve. Sure.
I know. You ask me every time. And every time I say I'm doing great, pretty much. So
that makes me happy. Yeah. When you tell me when you're not doing great, that might bum me out. So I might have to, do a little recon there to help you get out of a good spot. But you're always in a good place when we do these podcasts.
I try to be.
It's awesome. Speaking of a good place here, Q4 Launch. Love to hear more about your firm, how long you've all been around, your focus on hospitality. And Ben, we'll go with you to kick things off and tell everybody about Q4 Launch.
Sure. Thanks, Matt, for the intro. Q4 Launch as a whole is a digital marketing and direct booking website company, really focused on the vacation industry as a whole. And we've been operating for about 14 years. Our primary customer base are bed and breakfasts, hotels, inns, lodges, campgrounds, and vacation rentals, all looking for ways to drive direct and online bookings for our customers. Another part of what we do is our integrated marketing strategy. So that integrated approach really allows us to hone in on a lot of different channels versus picking one or two, because the integrated approach we've seen over the past 14 years has really worked well for growing the online business for our customer base.
All right.
So now do you all have, I know there's kind of a mix of different companies that focus on certain things, like what more websites, more marketing, of course, bookings, which you're not that, right? So do you have a kind of a platform and you're kind of more services based? Is that right? Maybe talk about what it is that you focus on, whether it's allowing your clients to build websites, you build them for them, and then you're heavily on the services side of marketing for that property, or maybe go into kind of what the tool set is, I guess.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So for our websites in general, we follow a framework that we have built that is more direct booking focused. So we will actually work with any new customer that comes to us and build their website for them. So we allow within it's not a templated platform, but it does have certain elements that can feel like a template, but we have customizable sections we can use throughout it to make sure we're really capturing the brand of those particular customers online, those businesses online, and it shows what they offer really well. The other part of our services is, like you said, really service focused. So a big differentiator for us is just our general customer service focused mindset. We always try to put the customer first, thinking through what impacts are going to affect them and how we're able to help watch their business grow, knowing that in the bed and breakfast space, this might be someone's savings they want to watch grow. Maybe this is their retirement plan. This is something that's going to give them that livelihood afterwards. And we really think about that whenever we're coming up with our approach, because we want to make sure that they're seeing us as the expert and we're helping them drive any of that revenue so they can have a successful business.
Yep. Makes sense. Cool. Well, I guess let's maybe dig into the services a little bit more and talk about, I guess, beyond kind of the framework or whatever, all the other kinds of things you do for clients, if you could.
Yeah, definitely. So we, with our, like Ben was alluding to, our integrated marketing approach really aims to sort of hit people at every phase of the travel journey, their planning journey. So we sort of lay that out as the dreaming phase, the beginning part where people are thinking about what they're going to do for vacation, what they might want to do, what activities, all of those. The planning phase, actually figuring out where they're going to go, booking a place and figuring out again, like, okay, we're going to go kayaking in a river or something like that. And then the booking phase. So actually getting those folks that are dreaming and building that idea, getting them to actually book, experiencing and remembering. So we have a couple of different things that we do. Ben talked about the marketing strategy that we do. So everybody who does marketing services with us will be given a dedicated account manager that works with their account. And that person will sort of be the go-between with the customer and then our team of experts, I guess, inside of our company. So we'll have some people really focused on content. So for example, like we do some blog writing and content writing on people's sites, and that really helps with the dreaming and planning phase. We have a client actually out in Jamaica, and a big thing to do in Jamaica with the, beautiful crystal water and everything is snorkeling. They're actually out in Negril, Jamaica. So if you were to go on Google right now and you type in snorkeling in Negril, after the ads, the first thing that's going to pop up is a blog that we wrote, top 5 places to go snorkeling in Negril. And that shows up above OTAs, above other competitors in the area. So we have a team that writes that content so that it sort of reaches people using these different kind of keyword parameters, these different searches. We have an SEO team that works in the nitty gritty of the site and then also reviews that content to make sure that not only are we could write about whatever kind of thing, but we want to make sure that we're writing about and we have stuff on people's sites that are actually keywords that people in their area are going to be searching, and then also keywords that are going to eventually lead to bookings or to maybe point them in the direction of lead generation or those kind of things. So we have an SEO team that works in the nitty gritty of the site, goes into the code, all the technical stuff to make sure that the site, is structured in a way that Google likes so that it ranks highly on different keyword searches. They go into potentially managing your Google My Business page and some of the off-page kind of things, the content writing, all of that kind of stuff to just give you a really strong online presence. We have a really awesome Google Ads and Bing Ads sort of pay-per-click program that we do. This is like kind of our best, like most direct way for you to say like, okay, I'm putting in X amount of dollars, I'm going to get X amount back. And we've had a ton of success with our B&B clients. So this past month, we got a report in our company average for return on ad spend, which is our metric for success, is 10 to 15 times return on ad spend. Some people even higher. We've had some folks this past month, some of our very top performers get in the neighborhood of 60 to 70x return on ad spend. And this is new booking revenue that you wouldn't get otherwise, and just sort of gives us tries to give us a competitive edge in the area. We have email marketing so that you can re-engage the folks that have already stayed. So, you have the experiencing phase, like we're talking about. People come to your bed and breakfast or your inn and they have an amazing experience there. But next time they might remember the name of your property, but they might search it and end up on an OTA or something like that. And that's a certain percentage of your revenue gone. Or they might, try to find another bed and breakfast or something like that. So we really try to encourage email marketing as well to re-engage your guests. Try to, if you have promos or specials or those kind of things, it's a great way to get that information out. If you have added renovated your room or something like that, it just helps re-engage the folks that have stayed. And then we have social media and lead generation. So our social media is kind of like building that brand awareness, and the place that the word of mouth community, all of that kind of stuff is happening now is in the digital space. And so our social media strategy really aims to build your brand and grow a community around what you're doing. It's also a great way in the remembering phase to, get your guests to say like, hey, send us some of your favorite pictures from when you stayed with us, and we'll post it on our Instagram account or our Facebook account or something like that. Or if you have, you have some pictures from guests that stayed over the summer, if you're, in the north like y'all are, where it's absolutely gorgeous during the summer, like, oh, wouldn't you love to see some of these trees, like, your last vacation in autumn or end of summer, that's kind of what we aim to do with the social media. And then the lead gen is just like different things that we can put on your website to get people's emails and get their contact information so that you can continually re-engage people and hopefully maybe even hit some new people that just came onto your site but are interested in your area. So those are our marketing services really aimed at hitting everything. And then, we also have websites as well that if someone doesn't elect for the marketing services, they can certainly just do websites. We have plenty of customers that are website only customers, and our websites are made to be responsive, which means that they look good across all platforms, whether someone's looking on mobile, on a tablet, on a PC, whatever, it's going to look good across all of those. It's going to be legible. We make sure that our sites are ADA compliant as well. I know that's kind of a big issue that we have. There's, we certainly have seen as well people looking for people's websites and checking to see if it's ADA. So that's something that we are really big on. We make sure it's secure, all of those kind of things. So yeah, those are some of the services that we provide. Again, it's all aimed at direct booking, all aimed at making sure that folks engage with your brand. And we try to make sure that all of those things are integrated, because when we're reaching folks in all of these different channels, that's when we see, the biggest success.
So, and talking about the different channels, like, ad spend and social media, emails, whatever. So how much is, and I'm sorry, just comes from being more of a software app systems guy, right?
Yeah.
But I'm always like, okay, so how much is the tool set? Like, you talk about your framework for the website, for example. Like, do you have kind of a platform where some of this stuff is done? And I'm just wondering if I'm an innkeeper. So are you giving me the tools to go do this? I know there's the tools, and then there's also the content.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also the human services aspect of it. So is this stuff that, like, you've got the tools and that's accessible to me as an innkeeper, or no, it's not really tools, it's your folks doing that and going to various places and just controlling that content? And how much of the content as an innkeeper do I have to provide, if any, versus, you all doing all of it, let's say? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So, our websites are built on a framework built in WordPress. So it's an easy way to it makes adding photos, content, all of that kind of stuff pretty seamless and easy. What we do is when we start off with a new customer, we really like to view it as a partnership. It's not just like, hey, we're going to be this far off people that aren't going to contact you ever. We like to be really open with our reporting and all of that kind of stuff as well. So we're going to say and work with the customer and say, hey, what kind of things do you want? What level of control over your website do you want? There's a certain level where obviously, like, you're getting into things that we can't give you access to that might affect the theme or something of the site that might actually break the site, but we give our customers access to be able to, if they want to edit things on a page, they're absolutely able to do that. If they want to add new photos or change those things, they can do that. If they want to create a brand new page as well, that's certainly something that they're able to do. But I would say the bulk of our clients are so busy. I used to be a customer success and account manager, basically. And one of my clients actually in Maine, he was doing this as sort of his, he had a really long, successful career being a lawyer. And then he decided to be an innkeeper, sort of a next career kind of thing. And when I would talk to him for our monthly meetings, he'd be like, yeah, I'm getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep each night because everything's all on him. Like, it's a very, very busy job to be an innkeeper.
I was going to say rude awakening for an attorney, probably. Attorneys my dad was an attorney, so I know they put in a lot of work, but still different kind of work.
Absolutely. So, and for him, they have an amazing place. They win a ton of awards and all of that. So he wants to be really involved in what's happening on the ground. So for him, he doesn't really have the time to be writing content for blogs or emails or those kind of things. Nor does he really want to, hire individual people at his end to do that. It's not really cost effective to do that. What we offer is an opportunity for you to do the things that you really love and that you're really good at. And then we can partner alongside of you and bring our expertise in marketing and in software and all of that to put out that content. So if you want to add some of the content on there, you certainly can. But for a lot of folks, I know that that's like the last thing that they want to do. And so we get to actually go ahead and implement that at a high level. So,
and how do I know, last kind of tool type question, but how do I know, like you said, the return on ad spend? How is it that you're able to track that? Or is it through kind of your platform that the ads get pushed out? Or is it just a matter of registering what you've done? I mean, it's probably through Google ads, I would imagine, or some of the standard places, platforms. Is that right?
Right. So we use Google Analytics for a lot of our reporting. Well, we have our own report that we make through Google Data Studio, and that data generally feeds through Google Analytics.
Okay.
So with our Google ads in particular, there's Google Analytics, but then there's also other software that the PPC team uses to modify what they're doing and optimize all of the ads and all of that. But our reporting can show you spent this much money, and through Google's, I guess, their software or whatever, the tracking and all of that we have on the ads, it'll show you which search queries brought X amount of dollars. And we have a list of those kind of things that you can see. How much did you pay, per click on these kind of queries? And then how much revenue did you receive from that? So we use those reporting tools to show how that happens. But behind the scenes, it's like, I got to see one of the SEO specialists, I got to see his setup, and it's like, when you see in the movies, those little hacker things, and there's like 85 screens up, and it's
Right.
System of all of these kind of
Command
things.
Central.
Yeah, seriously. It's an insane thing that he's doing, but we just have a lot of tracking software that helps us to see the keywords that are going to actually make bookings. Then we can optimize what we're doing. And he continually, works on that, bids on all of these keywords all day kind of thing to make sure that we're optimizing as much as possible, getting the maximum sort of revenue that we can. So, yeah.
As an innkeeper, as a client, that would get boiled down as either an online kind of dashboard sort of thing, or do I get reports every week or month?
You get a monthly report that has whatever your services are. It will show you, like, for example, if you're doing the whole gamut, like you have everything, then you'll get a report that's, I believe, 5 or 6 pages that has, your revenue on one page, your search performance, your organic search performance, how many folks will be driving to your site on another page, your email performance, your social media performance. We do send out also these SEO reports that come every month, and they're a lot of times really overwhelming because they're super in depth. They're like 10-page long report that gives you a really, really good look at what we're doing. But we've, on this data studio report that we send out, boiled it down to one page that gives you a high level overview. And then there's also a pay-per-click page. And then what will happen is, as an innkeeper, if you were working with us, you would set up a call with your account manager. Some folks don't have time for that, and they're totally fine with the report, and that's fine. We send out a report with some notes so that you can, look at it at your leisure. But a lot of folks will want to set up a time to connect with our people. And we actually go through the report, pull up your analytics, go through all of these different things so that you can see, what's actually happening. How have we done compared to last year? How are we doing this quarter compared to last quarter? All those kind of things. So,
cool. If there's any point where, performance may not be going well, or if we're trying to, understand the general travel industry and how they're impacting within it, we always have a section toward the end of our reporting that gives an opportunity for improvement. That's not only within the reporting, but also within the marketing strategy. And that could be a number of different things. That could be from a business perspective, what we've seen work well for other similarly run operations to the bed and breakfast, or it's ways we can help improve with some of the Q4 launch products that we have, just trying to make sure that it's a holistic approach. So we're not just trying to sell people on it because we want to, make them have more services with us. It's all around what's going to be best for your business and how we can help tailor your strategy to do that and advise you as well. So not only are we giving you the data we have within our services, but also how can we help you grow outside of that? So kind of going back to that customer service mindset, that is really important to us.
Okay. So first off, if I'm listening to this, if I'm an innkeeper and I'm kind of wondering, like, maybe I'm not crazy about how I'm doing things now. I built my own website, let's say, right? So I'm thinking, this is just too much, all this marketing stuff and driving people to getting traffic to come to my website, getting bookings, all that. So I'm thinking of, making a change. There's probably some sort of an initial approach of getting everything up there and running. And then there's this kind of ongoing services approach. So maybe talk a little bit about cost structure, what I can expect to pay to, process as well as cost. Maybe start with the cost side of things.
All right, sales guy, you're up.
Yeah. So it really varies depending on what you're choosing to do. So we like to start with the integrated approach first because we think that's the best strategy for you to achieve success in your business. If you're missing the email, then you're missing the opportunity to re-engage. If you're missing the social media and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so our marketing packages for bed and breakfast, they also sort of depend on the amount of rooms that you have, but it will be in the neighborhood of, like, on the higher end, $2,500 a month to maybe $2,000 a month on the higher end. And then depending on what service, like, let's say that you, for some reason, aren't crazy about doing social media at all. Like, you're like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't think it requires, it's not that cool, whatever. Then we would work with you during the initial process to tailor a strategy that works for you and then give you a different pricing, but it probably wouldn't exceed that pricing. And then our websites as well, they start around $1,500 for a setup and then $297 a month for maintenance. And the maintenance, that includes, we have a complimentary hour of web support. So if you're just a website only customer, you want to add a new whatever page and you don't really want to deal with that and you don't want to implement those things, you can send that to us to do. We have a client in California. I think it's really awesome that they do this. Actually, they are very thorough about what they want. They come up with this like Google Slides thing of what they want done on their site. They point it out and then you get it and then you can implement it really easily, with exactly what they want. But they don't want to spend the time or they don't really have the time, honestly, to implement all of those things. And then the setup is it includes, the design process, the building out the website, making sure that it's all secure. And then the maintenance is the web support, the continued security, making sure that we keep our framework up to date so that it doesn't really lag behind what's going on in the industry. So it includes making sure that our site isn't missing any major pieces that would cause it to perform poorly. Our sites are built with SEO in mind and with direct booking in mind. So we always want to make sure that our sites are, our theme is mirroring that and those kind of things. Then, if there's if there's an outage or something, that we monitor those things to make sure that you're not missing any time on your site as well. So that's kind of included in that as well. And then I think that's pretty much the pricing structure. It would be something where, if someone were to work with us, you would go through a process of really figuring out what it is that they need, what we suggest would be best for them, and then what they actually want. And then we sort of work on the pricing from there.
Yeah. In addition to our marketing services. So, if someone comes to us, they really like their website provider. They just think it's awesome. They don't want to change. They just want to come on for marketing. That is another option as well, because we view that with that integrated approach more as a product for us. So our marketing product, that doesn't require as much of a setup fee in terms of that. We just kind of start after the first month of that initial call. And then we start billing for that service every month. So as a part of that initial call and that first setup really is in capturing everything. So that goes from getting an onboarding call, understanding more about the business, who that is. If you are electing for content, SEO content services, social media services, email services, you'll have a dedicated call with one of those specialists assigned to your account for a branding call. That call is really going to hone in on you, understand it, get some examples of what you're looking for, and then moving forward from there. So we set up the content to be successful. Again, with that marketing component, you do get a strategy. So a member of my team on the digital marketing side goes in, looks at all of your Google Analytics data, looks at your Search Console data, looks at if we have access to your customer relations manager or any other third-party sources you would like us to use. We pull all that together and we come up with a strategy from there. Normally we do it on the quarterly basis, kind of depending on where it falls within the quarter. Could be just a couple months going to the next quarter with a full strategy, but we try to make sure that content at social media, the email, all the integrated approach is fit directly to your brand and how we can help grow you online by finding things that are going to resonate really well with your audience. That's a really big push we try to do. All of our calendars are unique for each customer that we do service for that reason.
Well, I can't imagine what all your folks who are supporting all of your clients, like what their password keeper app must look like to try to log into all of the different Google Analytics and all that. Oh my goodness. Trying to keep track of all that. Wow.
Yeah. We have a pretty good one in place and it fills everything in automatically. So we're just like, let it do it. We don't need to worry about all of it.
So, you talked about, and most of our listeners are independent lodging professionals, as we would say, but talk about kind of the ideal client. Who is right for Q4 launch? And you basically said, bed and breakfast, hotels, campgrounds, whatever. Is there anything more, demographically or budget wise or whatever where you feel like you kind of fit? You're not going to be supporting a big brand hotel, obviously, I wouldn't think. But talk about who you think is a perfect fit for Q4 launch.
You'd be surprised. We do have some big brand hotels. We have a couple Marriott, Hilton, and some Best Western. So we do work in that capacity as well and support
you tried
too. But kind of our ideal customer on the Q4 launch side that we've seen the most success with is one that's willing to collaborate with us in their marketing, right? We can look at all the data. We can look at all the insights that's provided through Google Analytics, Search Console, the CRM, but no one knows their business better than the customer. So that's why we try to use that monthly call. Whenever we deliver the strategies, we always have a time to connect. So just having that two-way communication and that collaborative approach has been the most successful for the customers that we have now and ones that are on the ideal side for us, especially when I alluded to earlier about the opportunities for improvement, whether that's been successful too, just providing that data behind it. If we recommend, a booking engine change, which may happen, or revenue management, or if we're like, hey, you might need some new photos on these rooms. They don't look very new based on your renovation. Just coming together with ideas and having the ability to discuss that with us and coming up with a plan from there. Just one customer example. We have a customer that's out of sight of Green Bay in the Door County area of Wisconsin, and they visited our office in Charleston for the past 6 years. And in those meetings, we've always talked to, how did last year go? What was really awesome? Was it really awesome? Walk through Google Analytics, talk through a general long-term strategy, and pull together a pretty comprehensive business plan to say, these are things that we think are going to help you grow as a business, whether that's with the services with us, whether that's with outside services, but coming together, pulling that up, and that partnership and that really clear, open collaboration has turned into a really profitable and also a really awesome and fun relationship for us that we continue to lean into. So just the ability to be collaborative, flexible, two-way communication, I think are really, really important for our ideal client.
Do you take them out to dinner when they're in Charleston?
We do. Normally they come during the day. So
it's a great town for food. So I'm just asking.
I know. Every time they come, we always make sure we block off a pretty chunk of the day. So we go to lunch and near the Mount Pleasant areas where we are. So we always try to go to Shim Creek if anyone's familiar with that.
I'm familiar with
Shim. By the water. Might as well.
Yeah, I love that. That's a laid back, cool place, man.
That's right.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'd keep coming back if you guys were taking me out to dinner every year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you talked about like the 60 to 70% or 70 times return on advertising or whatever. Some examples, maybe? I don't know if you can use client names or whatever, but what are some stories maybe in terms of, okay, we had somebody come to us and they were floundering, and then here's where they've ended up. Anything you can kind of talk about as an example of somebody who was in dire need of the Q4 mentality?
Dire need, that's right. Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can use their name. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, but they're great. No, don't use the name. Okay.
Don't use the name.
That's just fine. We have a customer in Amelia Island who is an inn owner, and they've actually been with us for quite a few years. And they kind of have the whole the whole integrated marketing strategy. So for many folks who have been in the B&B business for a little while, you probably can attest that last year was insane. 2021 was like a record year for almost all of our customers. And so what we've seen is, this year it's been not for everybody, but for some folks, it's been hard to sort of beat what we did last year. But with these folks in particular, they have the whole gamut, and we've actually been able this year to beat their record year in 2021. So their booking revenue actually increased 80% year over year. Their e-commerce revenue increased 79%. So that's all of the revenue that they're getting just from their website. That's increased, which is awesome. The overall site sessions has been up 38%. So that's 38% more folks on your actual page, hopefully converting into bookings. The organic sessions, so these are folks that are typing in some of those keywords like I was talking about with our content, that's going up 25%. And their paid search sessions, so folks that have gotten onto their website via our ads, it's gone up 211%. So we've had some really awesome success with them. They've, like I said, they've been with us for some time. And so the cool thing with them is that, and Ben was talking about this as well, it's just that partnership that we have with them. We have experts in software and all of this kind of stuff that helps us develop these strategies and helps us find out like, okay, these are some of the keywords that we think we should be targeting. Here's some of the demographic data of folks, maybe there's a ton of folks from Atlanta that are going down to Amelia Island for vacation and all that. But these people know their market better than we can know their market. And so that collaboration of working with them and using like marrying our expertise with their expertise from their market has really led to this success. So yeah, we see this with a fair few of our clients, especially ones that kind of have that whole integrated marketing package. The longer that they're with us, the more that we learn about them, the more that we collaborate, the more success that we see. So yeah, it's a really awesome story, especially to be beating 2021 in that kind of way. Hopefully 2023, maybe go 80% again, just keep going up exponentially.
Yeah. And Kyle, I just checked and they had an 80x return on ad spend. So huge impacts there. But one of the really big ways, and I know we've talked about it a couple times too, is we're very data focused in every aspect that we present to all of our customers. So we always take a look in their Google Ads data, their audience data from analytics, their whatever we're getting from the ads as well, tailoring that to them and understanding that too. And if there's any special recommendations that are coming from the customers, like Kyle alluded to, knowing your audience better and guests better than everybody else, we try to pair that into the PPC strategy, the SEO strategy, the email strategy. So we're really dishing out that catered content for that guest that's going to be ideally staying there as well.
We've got a client on Amelia Island, so I'm afraid I can't mention the name. I'm curious now whether it's the same client. So
maybe we have to do some Googling after this and see.
Good deal. Matt, how am I doing so far? You haven't had to reel me in on anything.
No, this is great. Yeah. Lively discussion here. So I don't know. Should we talk more about any trends or anything like that? Future focus for Q4 launch, maybe?
Yeah, I got a lot of general trends to share with everybody today, and it's quite a few. So I'll try to keep it as high level as I can. I know, Matt, you and Steve both know, and I know Kyle can attest to this too, that sometimes a rabbit hole happens. I got to dig myself out of it. So I'll try my best to stay within the world and make sure that I'm good to go there too. So if I'm going down a rabbit hole, please just let me know. Kind of the biggest trend, and I think more of a general thing we always push, we've talked about it several times generally with our customers, is knowing who your audience is and tailoring that content to them. So not only just what that copy looks like and in the emails or the social or the websites, but in general, just making sure that the way it's worded really matches your brand. If you're a luxury B&B, you're probably not going to write very casually, right? You're going to write very elevated, very elegant in the way that you sound. Similarly to how the pictures would pair with the property as well. So, just really making sure that's cohesive and all of that too. And considering, last year being one of the years you may have gotten a new demographic of people or a new set of locations that are now traveling to your area, considering creating very tailored content toward those people coming maybe for the first time, or ones that it's in the wintertime and they've only visited in the summer, like what they should pack for that period of time, or if a really big push again, sustainability. What does the property do that showing green efforts, making that eco-friendly impact? So just thinking through tailoring that content to your audience and really focusing on those guests that you have coming to the property. Again, focusing on capturing guests another way from last year through repeat incentives if you're not doing that already. I know we always educate our customer base so they don't have a repeat renter guest discount to come back and provide that percentage off if they have someone in their local market. I'm seeing if there's a staycation package they can do or special that comes in as well. And especially with some of the rising gas prices coming through, are you considering a gas credit that you can add to a special or a package to kind of incentivize those travelers more, whether they're in your local area, maybe in the city, or a little bit out in the counties around it or anything like that. But just thinking through, you as a traveler, what would you be wanting to look for in that respect is something, a big trend we always like to tell is thinking like the guest. And it might not be necessarily a trend, but just the mindset going into it and having it too, and related to the gas prices being always a hot topic of question. Something else to kind of consider is, I know in some markets, it can be a big fly or airline market. So as those travel markets are going up in terms of pricing and everything like that, considering creating content or focusing efforts around direct flight paths to your area. I know Charleston has several places that fly directly here, and seeing what you can do on your marketing side or outreach side, making sure you're capturing those people, because people don't like to stop during travel. I know that I was happy I got a direct flight to New York City next week. I'm thrilled that I don't have to go through anywhere else. So just trying to think through, if that makes sense for your area, what that looks like. If you're in a big city, you have the option to do like a Metro card. See if that's an option in your area as well, based on regulations, and see, hey, does this work? Can I offer this as an extra incentive? So again, another trend or industry shift, really seeing how you can capture those guests that may be flying or driving there as well, and really leaning into, if you can, that community-based type travel as well. Similarly, along those lines, providing ways that your B&B can be a destination in and of itself. We had a customer that's in North Carolina in the mountains who took a lot of operational effort on property to add some new suites to their property that worked really well. They're actually overlooking the mountain. They're absolutely beautiful. Added a spa right next to those and really emphasized everything you can do around the property. So when someone is traveling, they don't feel like they have to pack a to-go bag with them, or don't feel like they have to pack so much. They can just come and just stay and unwind in that given property where they're staying, and utilize the restaurant that's on site, utilize the spa. And if that's not necessarily an option, having those recommendations for what someone can do around the immediate area, so they're not feeling like they have to plan all this travel and do all this. So again, thinking about, as a traveler, what can you do to help alleviate some of that planning stress that may go into it? Something else we've seen that some of our B&Bs have done is do a rent the B&B program, where someone can come and do a full rent the entire inn if they want to, or bed and breakfast if they want to. And something that's in my personal life, planning my own wedding, I realized that I want to do a small wedding. I want to rent out one place and have everything there. So, having the opportunity and the flexibility to do that, having the ceremony space on site, having everything that could come in, so people don't feel like they have to find 7 different places to stay when you can just stay all in one place, especially at the inn, which is going to be beautiful and have that scenic view as well. More on some of the technical software, maybe data stuff going on. A few of our customers this coming year, going out of 2021 being an absolute record year for bookings and traffic and leads just across the board coming through the site or in general over the phone, is focusing more on kind of their ADR. So what can they get for a room per night versus how many rooms can they fill at the inn? So really being strategic on, am I priced competitively compared to my destination? Or should I be focusing on that? Should I be focusing on occupancy? But a lot of people really have been prioritizing that nightly rate versus occupancy to get as much as they can for those rooms. On the Q4 launch side, that we're migrating well to Google Analytics 4. I know we have a ton of time to get there, being in July of 2023, which will probably be here tomorrow based on how time is working with everything going on over the past couple of years. But thinking through that at a global scale, what does that look like? And making sure we still can access some of the audience information that we want to make sure is captured, that we're really targeting those people that need to be coming to the B&B or seeing that as well, and giving us new opportunities to do that and finding benchmarks for it too. So we're working on transitioning, just want to make sure we still have all the data aggregated that we want to make sure we can use for customers. And kind of the last thing that's come up a lot recently in some of the SEO conversations with our team and then collaborating with a couple of other companies as well is just knowing Google algorithm updates are happening all the time. And so making sure that there is a strategy in place, whether you're using your current company or if you're using us as well, to make sure that's staying afloat. One of the biggest ones came up earlier this year that really turned some rankings around for the industry as a whole. But luckily for our customers, they didn't see too much of a dip in that particular ranking section. But, just in general, having somebody there that's going to help and keep ahead of some of those other updates that may affect rankings or how traffic's coming to the site. So that's kind of all I can think of right now. That's a lot that I went through, but just some things to keep in mind, thinking like the guest, how would you want to travel, leaning into your local community? How can the B&B become a place where everybody can stay and be rented out? And then making sure you're looking at some of your revenue operations and the data tracking and making sure you're good there as well.
Good deal. What do you think? Any thoughts on what the recession might be doing and what people should be thinking about now to prepare maybe?
Yeah, it's a great question. I know that's coming. It's coming definitely. And, I'm not sure when, but just trying to keep messaging around kind of the positives for it. And I know a recession can cause a lot of financial hardship, guests that are coming potentially, and also for innkeepers as well. And while it's not the same as what happened during the pandemic, we kind of view them very similarly, right? Where even though this is one thing that's happening, normally a recession, just like the pandemic, there are things that we will naturally grow out of based on the way our economy is in general. And so we always recommend marketing through that, making sure you're still staying top of mind for those guests and whatever that looks like. And we always just recommend keeping yourself afloat, what that can be and how you can do it, or at least on the marketing side as well. And how can you get some of those guests that are not going to be affected as much by the recession? And how do you still stay in front of them?
Yeah. Cool. Good deal. Sounds like your friend is making some noise, just like my dogs are outside right now barking. I don't know if you can hear that. Sorry, but
that's hilarious.
Video for this, but yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Matt, you ready to lead us out or what?
I think so. Yeah. Before we take us out, Ben and Kyle, appreciate the time today. Great insights. Any final parting shots? Anything we may have missed?
Yeah, we talked about a whole lot, and I'm sure you probably have some questions. So if you're interested to get in touch with us, you can look at our website. Website is q4launch.com. So Q4launch.com. And then the email to reach out to is info@q4launch.com. And we can give you a complimentary Google Analytics analysis as well, and sort of look at what you're doing right now and give you some suggestions for ways that you can improve moving forward. So
yeah, and we'll make sure that we post when we do the blog post for the podcast. We'll put that information out there as well. Yep.
Yeah.
And
awesome. Wanted to thank you both for your time and reaching out to Q4 initially and letting us kind of have this time with you guys. So we really appreciate it. And
absolutely.
Luna, my dog, also appreciates it, being in the background and hearing me talk. So giving a thank you to her from her as well.
All right, big deal. All right.
Awesome.
Matt, go for it, man.
All right. Well, this concludes this Frictionless Innkeeper podcast interview with Ben Ollic, who is the Senior Director of Marketing Specialist at Q4 Launch, and Kyle Collins, who's the Sales Representative at Q4 Launch. And both gentlemen were kind enough to share their insights on Q4 Launch's comprehensive web and marketing services for the lodging sector, and also some great insights into future B&B trends. And our podcast is brought to you by the Frictionless Guest App, which helps improve your guest stay without adding more to your day. Learn how at frictionlessguest.com. And Ben, Kyle, and Steve, thanks for your time today.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Ben. We appreciate it.